Hello and welcome to another update. This one took me specifically a very long time to map out. I think it took me 45 minutes just to map out the updates because there's so many. Starting out in the Zaporizhzhia front, Ryber released report suggests that the Russians have captured Stepove, Sherbeki, Novoanderivka, Novodanilivka, and Malatukmachka. With this, the Russian forces have captured all the villages to the south of Orikhiv and are now going to be attacking Orikhiv as the next target, unless they are going for an encirclement where they will be attacking Novopavlivka and Cherveni Krynitsia, and then they will be taking the city itself. Also, considering how the last time Ryber reported such a large advancement, we have to take this report with a grain of salt, although it is very possible that the Russians have taken these villages. Since Ryber is the only one that reported it, then we'll have to take it with a grain of salt for now. Anyways, moving on to the Vuhledar front, we see that the Russian forces are continuing their attacks to the north of Doroshnyenka and towards Vuhledar. And at the same time, the Ryber also reported that the Russian forces have captured the heights south of Melinivka. If we look at the topographic map, this is Melinivka. We can see that the heights are to the southwest of the village, which means that they have captured this part here and are now fighting towards the village itself. With this, we see that the Russian forces are focusing their attacks in the direction of Vuhledar as well as Orikhiv. Then we have also seen reports that the Russian forces are attacking the direction of Novosilka. This is most likely to cut this road and prevent the Ukrainians from resupplying this area from the west, or to completely cut off reinforcements from the east towards the west. With this Russian breakthrough in the Zaporizhzhia, they may want to send some reinforcements there. At the same time, we see that the Russians are probing the defenses at Vuhledar by attacking north of Pavlivka. And the fighting continues to the west of Marinka, where Ryber and Wargonso both suggest that they have advanced a bit. And the same with Vuhledar, where the fighting continues. And the same with Vuhledar, where the fighting continues and the Russian forces try to expand the zone of control around the village. And moving on to the Klishchiivka area, here is another major update, as the Russian forces have managed to capture the reinforcements and trench network north of Klishchiivka. At the same time, the Russian forces have also been reported to attack Bilogora, Dilivka, and Prejechina, all of these to the west of Klishchiivka, and most likely this indicates that the Russian forces are trying to cut off any supplies that goes from Konstantinivka to the front line to the southeast of Konstantinivka, and we can see that the Toretsk area has only one main road that goes to the area, and this is all very heavily fortified. So if the Russian forces manage to cut off this highway to the Toretsk front, all of these Ukrainian soldiers in these heavily fortified positions will be out at a significantly reduced rate of supply, which will give the Russians a huge advantage on this front. The Bredichina area was reported by the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense, and these two were reported by Wargonso. Also, with the capture of the fortification north of Klishchiivka, the Russian forces can now directly attack Ivanivske, as well as the highway, including villages like Subochki, and move forward towards Chasivyar and capture this forest line to the south of the highway, which will allow them to ambush any Ukrainian supplies or reinforcements going through the highway to Bakhmut. At the same time, the Russian forces continue their attacks to the east of Bakhmut, and according to the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense, the Russian forces are also attacking Yahidne, which is to the northwest of Bakhmut, which most likely indicates that they count this northern suburb of Bakhmut as Yahidne, after which the Russian forces are attacking the eastern outskirts of this. And the fighting continues to the north of Bakhmut in Krasnogora, where Wargonso reports that they are attacking from the southeast as well as the east. There has been no reports on Blahodatne. However, Krasnopolivka is, according to Deep State map, almost completely captured by the Russian forces, and the rest of the village is in the gray zone. The same with Vasyuivka, which has been reported attacked by the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense. The Russian forces must have crossed the river and are now attacking in that direction to cut off the supplies coming from the southwest towards Siversk, which would leave the only road for them to properly resupply from, the smaller road going through the village belt here to the north. or to the south of Siversk, and then if they have any pontoon bridges across the Severodonetsk River, which means that they have been significantly reduced supplies since the Russian capture of Vuhledar, but that is increasing with the Russian attacks on Klishchiivka. The Russian forces also continued their attacks in the direction of Rosolivka, Verkhnogamianska and Bilohorivka, all of this to further increase their zone of control and to attack the Ukrainian forces to prevent them from retreating. And at the same time, attacks are being reported to the west of Yanupopivka and Plashenka. And finally, the Russian forces tried to recapture Novoselivsk after Ukrainians captured almost the whole village a couple of days ago. And that's all for this update. Hope you all enjoyed. Thank you all for watching and have a great day.